There's a great philosophical legacy when he says it is not the darkness we're frightened of, it's our light. And that's because when we pretend to be what we're not, he said, that doesn't make people comfortable. Be what the light is inside you. Claim your power, and then people will feel it easier. That's the greatest legacy, the greatest philosophical zinger, and I've got it in my iPad and my iPhone and everything. I look at that several times a week.
As a game changer, as a world changer, one of the guys who'll be on our walls for many centuries.
Mandela, I think, will be a legend for centuries. And I think the more time passes, the greater his status will grow. As you know, history is an extraordinary thing, and when people find their place in history the way Mandela has, I think his name will be like Alexander the Great, or you know, those great names in history. And I believe Mandela will achieve that kind of status historically. Not just, I mean, because of how he got there, you know, those years in prison, the whole history of Mandela is just so extraordinary and so kind of immaculate.
Oh my gosh, in terms of his example of largesse and forgiveness and magnanimity, I think under such incredible sort of duress in his life is a beacon of hope. I think he's one of the greatest men alive today. I think he's one of the greatest examples of peace and how peace is possible, even how forgiveness is possible, even in the most extreme circumstances.
His legacy to the world is incredibly important. It's symbolic and real as well, because someone who stays 20 years in jail and comes out full of forgiveness, I think it's a legacy to every one of us. His intelligence, of course, his stature, but what I like the most is that after 20 years of this dreadful imprisonment and dreadful jail and dreadful conditions, he came out and said how sorry he felt for the people that made him go through that. So I think that at that level of humanity, of kindness, of goodness, yeah, is an example for all of us.
His life has been an incredible inspiration, a struggle. It hasn't been a perfect life, nor does he ever think of a perfect man. But he was the perfect guy, and he had that kind of force of will. And he stood up, and he just said no. And we're better for it. And he was, you know, he took beatings for it, and he lost a large part of his life by saying no.
Well, you know, Mr. Mandela will go down as one of the greatest individuals that lived in the 20th century. No question about that.
Well, yeah, it's certainly on the books. He has been a very generous guy with his own life.
He's been just a figure of social change through open-heartedness and forgiveness. And I hope more people will look up to him for that. And when you are, you know, when we do feel oppressed, to do it the Nelson Mandela way, come back with an open heart.